Today we're going to be talking about the African diaspora in Ukraine. From Black Shakesperean actors to African students currently on the front line of the war in Ukraine, let's take a look at some powerful Black history. My name's Faida and welcome to Freedom is Mine, where we talk about Black history, culture and contribution from all around the world. Today we'll be looking at Black history in Ukraine, which, as you know, is in the middle of fighting a full-scale attack from Russian forces. Before we begin, I'd like to encourage you to make a donation to the relief effort in Ukraine. In the description below, you'll find links where you can donate. If you wish, there are also networks listed below that work to assist Black people in Ukraine, particularly students and foreign workers. Thank you for watching. Now let's learn some Ukrainian Black history.
There are no exact figures for the number of Africans and African descendants in Ukraine. The Afro-Ukrainian community largely comprises Africans who have come to Ukraine to live, work or study, as well as their biracial children. The Black population in Ukraine remains relatively small and is concentrated in major cities such as Kiev. Ukraine's Black history is centuries old but little known. Perhaps one of the most endearing chapters of Black history in Ukraine was the unlikely friendship between the African-American Shakespearean actor Ira Aldridge and the Ukrainian writer Taras Shevchenko. Ira Aldridge was an actor who became a household name in 19th century Europe, particularly for his performances of Shakespearean plays. Taras Shevchenko was a Ukrainian writer, widely considered to be the founder of modern Ukrainian literature. The pair were said to have met in 1858 in St. Petersburg, where Ira Aldridge was performing in King Lear and Othello. Apparently, Taras was so impressed by Ira's performance that afterwards he came to his dressing room and kissed him on the cheek.
They bonded over the fact that Ida was descended from enslaved Africans and Taras Shevchenko himself had been a serf. Their friendship was unusually progressive for its time, and Taras even painted Ira's portrait.
The Black population in Ukraine grew in the 20th century, largely thanks to the influx of Africans and African Americans migrating to Ukraine to study. From the 1920s onwards, the USSR became an increasingly popular destination for communist, anti-colonialist, and Pan-African students. Although this wavered under Stalin, by the 1950s and 60s, many African countries were in the process of achieving independence. Keen to forge diplomatic relations, the Soviet Union offered scholarships to students from a number of African countries, including Ghana, Senegal, Angola, and Mozambique. 1/3 of these students came to study in Ukraine, many of whom had biracial children with Ukrainian women, thereby increasing the Afro-Ukrainian population. Fast forward to today, and the Black population in Ukraine is steadily growing. In 2011, the Kiev-based African-American journalist and Fulbright scholar Terrell Starr conducted in-depth research into the lived experiences of Afro-Ukrainians. He channeled his research into a photo exhibition that shone a spotlight on these contemporary Afro-Ukrainian narratives. Terrell Starr, a Detroit-born journalist, has lived in Ukraine since 2009 and is currently reporting from the front line the events of the war in Ukraine.
And on that subject, let us turn our attention now to the war in Ukraine. On February 24th, 2022, Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine by land, air and sea. This conflict is ongoing at the time of recording, and so far, thousands of people have been killed and millions of people have been displaced. Naturally, these tragic and abhorrent events have impacted the Black community in Ukraine, and thousands of African students have been amongst those fleeing the violence.
Reports have circulated in recent weeks of African students receiving discriminatory treatment, including being turned away at border crossings, denied entry to trains, and even receiving racial abuse.
However, Black people, particularly African students, have been instrumental in assisting the rescue efforts during the war. They have been risking their lives to assist Ukrainians in locating shelter and accommodation, driving them across the border, and finding refuge outside the country. Black people in Ukraine have also been fundraising, gathering donations, and sharing information online via hashtags such as #AfricanInUkraine and #BlackInUkraine.
Groups such as Black Women for Black Lives have also been set up to help evacuate African students in Ukraine and have successfully raised upwards of $250,000, as well as establishing a support network on the ground. Others include Black foreigners in Ukraine and #BlackInUkraine. Now, before we end the video, I'd like to take a moment to celebrate a couple of Afro-Ukrainians who have achieved great things. First up is the well-known singer and songwriter Gaetana, who is of mixed Congolese heritage. In 2012, she became the first person of African descent to represent Ukraine in the Eurovision Song Contest, where she performed her song, Be My Guest. Black history was made in 2019 when pro wrestler and politician Jan Belenuk became the first Black member of parliament in Ukraine. In addition to his political commitments, he is a champion wrestler and won gold at the 2021 Olympics in Tokyo.
And there we have our video on Black history in Ukraine. Please do check out the links in the description where you can donate to the relief effort. Anything you can give is much appreciated. That's it from me, and I'll see you in the next video. Ashe.
Freedom.